For those of you on the phone, normally we put you in automatic mute, but today our presentation, or the bulk of it, will be provided by Kevin Jones from KPS3, our marketing and outreach contractor, who this company developed with the Exchange, the brand standards guide. So I ask you all to please either mute yourselves if you're on the phone. If you don't have an automatic mute button, please press *6. Please do not put us on hold so we hear elevator music while the presentation is going. We can still hear some of you in the background, so please go ahead and mute your phone. We are scheduled from 10 to 11. However, we have the room here needs to be set up for a video conference with, a bunch of other exchanges in the White House this morning. So we're probably going to end about 10:45. If there are questions that we can't get to, please send them to the brokers and agents at exchange.nv.gov, and we will send out responses as soon as possible. We're currently in the room still loading the presentation. So again, please mute your phones. Please, you can *6 if you're on a cell phone or when you don't have the actual mute button. A little bit of housekeeping. We've received a pretty sizable amount of when is the training going to occur emails, and we are finalizing that training. Should be Friday, and so I'm confident that we will get something out either next week or early part of the week thereafter with a schedule of locations and dates and available times for all of you to sign up for that training. And so we look forward to saying, just keep your eyes peeled to the listserv emails that come out. That will be how we will send that out. We'll also update our webpage and put it on the What's New part of the homepage as well. So with that in mind, to not take up too much more time, again, this is our last session for this broker onboarding for these informational sessions. And the only requirement for you all to become appointed is to, of course, be licensed, active, and in good standing, and attend that 4-hour block of training that should occur. We anticipate it mid to late September. So again, please mute your phones, and I'm going to go ahead and turn over this process to Kevin Jones from KPS3. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks, Damon. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you in the room.
All right. So I'm going to go over the graphic standards. As Damon said, we helped Nevada HealthLink put this together. The purpose of the graphic standards is twofold. The first is that we put it together to ensure everything we create for Nevada HealthLink internally and by Nevada HealthLink themselves is cohesive and works together as one. The second use of the graphic standards is why everyone's here today, and it's to educate people on if they're going to use the logo as a Nevada HealthLink partner, how do we do that? So to start out, if the current graphic standards version is 1.3, you can find it on the Nevada HealthLink website at any time at exchange.nv.gov. You can go there, go to the brokers and agents section under resources, and you can always download the latest one to have. In here is a lot of information about the logo and the brand. The most important pages for you to start out with are page 6. It demonstrates the primary logos of Nevada HealthLink. On that page, you will see the 4 versions. We have an English version without a tagline. We have an English version with a tagline. We have a Spanish version, and we have a Spanish version with the tagline as well. You are able to pick any one of these for your pieces that works with it. We just ask that if you're doing a Spanish piece, that use the Spanish logo. If your content is in Spanish, please use the Spanish logo. If your content is in English, please use the English logo. If you'd like to use the tagline, you can. That is completely optional for you.
I'll bring up the computer too.
If you'd like to go to page 9, we have some secondary logos that might not always work. If you're using the 4 colored logos on your page 6, and your piece is going to be in full color, you can always use those 4 color logos. If you're ever doing anything smaller, you're having 2 logos on a pencil, you're doing anything that needs to be 1 color or completely flat, that's what these secondary logos are for. Always try to use the logos on page 6 if possible, but if you do need a 1 color white logo or a flat version of the logo, you can refer to page 9 and use those logos. If you go to page 10, we have what's called a logo clear space. So the importance of this is you don't want things right up to the logo. By using this, we know that all of you have your own brand that you're holding as well, and there always needs to be a little bit of space between your brand and the Nevada Health Link. It helps keep your brand intact and not to be confused with the Nevada Health Link one, and the Nevada Health Link brand strong and recognizable as well. So we have what's called the clear space. The clear space is described on page 10 and then demonstrated on page 11. All that we're asking is that there's a simple amount of white space around the logo and that nothing is ever butting up directly against it. If we look at page 12, we have set some minimum sizes for the logo to be legible. If you're ever going to be using the logo very small, we just ask that you keep the minimum height to 0.25 inches. As long as it's greater than that or equal to, it matches the brand standards and is still legible. If you ever have to go smaller than that, please ask the Health Exchange or try to get in contact with us, and we can determine if it's still readable. But 0.25 is the recommended size to never go below. If you turn your attention to page 13, we're going to run over a few samples of incorrect logo usage. This is just some issues we ran into in the past of people using or modifying the logo. In no way, shape, or form are you allowed to modify or change the logo to fit anything. I have a bunch of examples of this on page 15. Starting at the top, do rotate the graph mark in the logo. Do not alter the text size in the logo. Do not use the logo with the symbol. Do not change the color of it. Do not stretch it vertically or horizontally. Do not change how the type is laid out. Do not change the typeface itself. Do not add graphics or symbols or lines or anything else to the logo. Always remember that clear space around it.
It has to be 2.5.
Okay,
Do
hold on a
not
second,
add
Kevin.
or rearrange the logo.
Hey, Kevin, hold on a second. Can everyone who's recently joined, please mute your phones? We have it in open broadcast, so our presenter can discuss these brand standards across all mediums, to include in our room and over the phone. So if you've recently joined, please mute your phones. If you don't have a mute button, please press *6 at this time. And sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, no problem. And then I think the biggest one too is just make sure the logo is always visible. It's not obstructed by bad background color or photos. Make sure it's always legible. Our preference would be that it's on white, but we've realized that's not always possible. So just make sure the logo is always visible and maintains that clear space around the edges. On page 16, we have some descriptions about taglines. We have a tagline for English and we have a tagline for Spanish. Feel free to use the taglines wherever you'd like. Most of the 90% of the time, you'll probably use the tagline with the logo, and that would be our preferred method of you using the tagline. But there are some rules around the tagline, so feel free to kind of look there and explore if you are interested in using it. We have found that using the tagline is helpful if you're not able to say in the copy exactly what it's about. Connecting you to health insurance really resonates with people on establishing Nevada Health Link as a trusted source for health insurance, and so feel free to use those wherever you would like. The pages 17 through about 28 don't really pertain to you guys, but you can still see them. These are more for internal use about which typefaces we use, what the alternative typefaces are, what the colors of our brand are. You guys have your own brands and your own colors that you can use on these. We don't expect you to change everything, and nor do we want you to change to match Nevada Health Link. There's two brands at play in this partner use. We recommend you keep your brands and then just use our logo inside of it to help as a partner. But we don't expect all of your pieces to be redesigned to use our colors and match the Nevada Health Link pieces. So please, there is a section in here starting on page 24 that just goes over the Nevada Health Link symbol. That is also an internal one. Please do not ever use the symbol by itself. If you're ever going to use the logo in one of your pieces, please use the full Nevada Health Link logo that includes the words and the symbol. And then imagery just is starting on page 27. We have some rules and kind of standards we follow as far as the imagery used for Nevada Health Link. That is also something related to our brand, not necessarily to yours. If you would like to try to match the style of photo that we do have, you can, and there are some rough little guidelines and examples there, but by no means do you have to match those type of photos. That is just what we are using internally and for our pieces, our collateral, our site, etc. 29 is where the rules kind of start, and I'll kind of have Damon just talk about how you guys will be working together as partners in the use of the brand. But a quick overview of the logo and some of the rules. Before we go over, does anyone have any questions on how to use it, when to use it?
Kevin, I'll go ahead and go over the partner use, and that hopefully will clear up any potential confusion.
Perfect.
So I want to thank you very much, Kevin, for briefly going through that. A couple things that he didn't mention, which aren't necessarily part of this brand standards guides, but are important to Nevada Health Link, is kind of the background is how we got to this point. We didn't just put a bunch of logos up on the wall, throw darts at them, and pick the one we hit. We actually, through KPS3, developed a pretty robust research process going through focus groups, utilizing our target market and those individuals that we wanted to tailor our message to. So we're very proud of it. Our board approved these logos, taglines months ago, and if you haven't seen already, they're already starting to filter out into the communities. We're in print media, I think right now, especially out in the rurals, mostly digital media and radio broadcasts. If you heard them here in the north and the south over various radio stations, and then you'll see a bigger push on September 15th for our television ads to come out. You can actually see what those ads are going to look like, preview them on our YouTube site to kind of see what message that we're sending out. And wherever possible, we really would like all brokers and agents and all of our partners and stakeholders to keep that same message moving forward. We don't want to confuse an already potentially confused customer on what the process is to enroll in health insurance, especially those that have never dealt with health insurance or have only dealt with it very rarely. So with that, I'm going to move forward to page 29, the partner use of Nevada Health Link. And as I mentioned, we want to basically ensure that we provide consumer education relating to the enrollment and the effective use of health insurance. That is one of our strategic plan goals here at the exchange. We do understand there are many partners that want to use their logo, or use our logo on their outreach, and we want to provide that opportunity for us to marriage up this process, so that way we can benefit from each other and get everybody who needs to be enrolled in insurance enrolled. And so there are some protocols, though, that we need to make sure that they are strict. And there's already been some instances where individuals or agencies have gone out and have already started marketing for Nevada Health Link without going through us. And where we recognize that there's an excitement and there's a need and a desire to educate those potential customers or current consumers of health insurance, we really need that stuff to come through Nevada Health Link first. We want one message going out to all people so everyone gets the same information, and we really need to have everything go through our organization before it can go out. There will be a process that I'll go over here shortly here on page 30 and 31. But please, if you have something that you already are sending out, or if you're putting up YouTube videos, if you've seen them already, there are other individuals already doing these processes. Please remember that in order to utilize our logo, tagline, likeness, any of those things, that you need to be appointed with Nevada Health Link first. I mean, there's the first most important process. We want to make sure that you are appointed with the exchange, so that way, again, we have that one message. So the protocols starting on page 30 are as follows. The use of Nevada Health Link logo in advertising materials, signage, digital, or any other form is solely reserved for those carriers that are offering health plans on Nevada Health Link, the Navigator Enrollment Assister grantees during the term of their grant and while carrying out the duties of the grant, currently licensed, both domestic and foreign, health producers, and here's the kicker, that are appointed by Nevada Health Link. And then the certified application counselor is appointed by Nevada Health Link as well, out in the communities. So all of the partnering organizations must adhere to our logo use and brand standards outlined in this guide, as Kevin had gone over very briefly. Any use of our logo in education materials, co-advertising, and or co-marketing must be approved in advance. So I know some folks like to ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Please don't do that. Please ask for permission first so we can go through and ensure that everything is appropriate. Once that logo is placed, all partners must submit the complete ad proof to the Nevada Health Link staff for review and final approval. A PDF or viewable digital file, an MP4 of the proof, must be sent to our communications officer, who is CJ Bowden, who I'm sorry was supposed to be here. He was in Vegas today. And his email is out there on the guide, but I'll put it out there again. It's cjbawden@exchange.nv.gov, and it needs to be sent to him prior to use. If those proofs are too large and you can't get them out of your outbox, then we also have you can contact the Nevada Health Link staff for instructions on how to use our digital Dropbox account. So we use the program called Dropbox, where we can instruct you on how to go ahead and place your requested proofs in that location so we can go in, review them, and then approve them as they come in. So, and finally, that we have the right to refuse placement of the logo in any materials that we deem misaligned or inappropriate to the Nevada Health Link brand. As Kevin went over at the beginning of this presentation, we have a specific message, and we have a specific set of rules that we need these brands to follow, and we want to make sure that our message is consistent across the board. So we will also, here I hate to be the bad guy, but we will monitor and track advertising and the use of the logo, taglines, and collateral materials. Unauthorized use of our logo or likeness will result in administrative, civil, and/or criminal penalties applicable under NRS 600.430, 686A040, 686A160. These provisions will be enforced in conjunction with the Nevada Division of Insurance and with the Attorney General's office. It is serious that we get out our message. We want to partner with everybody. We understand the excitement, but please, if you follow these rules, everybody wins. If you don't, someone's going to lose. If you have any specific questions about this guide outside of today, or you want to know if there's something that you can do, you can always contact CJ, our communications officer, at that email that's on the bottom of page 31. So to kind of recap this, we went over it very quickly in about 15 minutes. That we spent a lot of time and resources in developing our brand, our tagline, our message, how we want this information to go out to Nevada to bring those folks in who don't have insurance or who want additional insurance to participate in Nevada Health Link here in the next, I think we're down to 40 days. So it's imperative that we work together as a team, as what I hope we've been doing so far throughout this process, and that it's just get us the potential proofs or the advertising or the mock-ups to us, and we will approve them as quickly as possible, although please recognize that you must be appointed first. I know that doesn't give everybody a lot of time. If we're doing training mid-September, that means you only get a couple-week jump on getting the information out before open enrollment. I wish I could tell you that this was the only bad timing in the situation we're dealing with right now, but everything's coming down to the wire, and we're racing to the finish line to meet October 1. So please be patient with us as we are patient with you all and trying to make this process work. I'm going to go ahead and open up for some questions. We got about 20 or so more minutes left. We may not even need the entire time, but this is the brand standard guides. Do we have any questions here in the room first?
Right, the logo or tagline on something, can we put the ad or whatever we want to use together now, submit it for approval, and just hold it until we're appointed?
Of course you can. You can always submit it to us, and then we can put it kind of in the queue waiting for your appointment, and then you can issue it out right then. We don't need you to wait before you submit. You can start submitting now. In fact, I have one sitting on my desk already. Let's take one on the phone. Any questions on the phone? While we take one more in the room, can you go ahead and put it into Q&A mode, Athena? That way, because people are probably waiting for your question is appropriate. You were next. I'll get you next.
So on the HealthLink website, you just introduced the UTunes video, which is about 6 to 7 minutes long. Is that okay for us to use? It's also at healthcare.gov and on Kaiser Foundation.
Yeah. So anything we post on our website, you are more than welcome to link to or reference. It's out there for the public already. It's not something that we need special approval for. It's only when you want to link your information directly to our taglines, our logos, those specific things right there. That's if you're going to post it on your on your pamphlets, or you're going to put it on your website, then we need to be able to approve that. If you're just going to link to something that we already have, people are doing that and have been doing it for months.
So the health link page, though, is kind of the preferred information we want to get out there.
We would recommend using our nbhealthlink.com page information because it's already been vetted.
Okay.
We're not saying that you can't go and use different information as long as it's accurate, which is why we need to approve it.
Okay, thank you.
We no.
To place all participants in broadcast mode, press 1. To begin a voting and polling session, press 3. To change your host password, press 4. To change... We're sorry, your request was not recognized. Future conferences will continue after the host disconnects.
Harry, you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, it had to do with business cards. Are we allowed to have business cards using the link?
You are allowed to put that on business cards. However, we would like to get a copy of what that is going to look like digitally, so we can approve that it meets our brand standards guide. So you're not stretching, bouncing, moving, changing colors, rotating, all those things Kevin went over.
Okay, and then letterhead.
I'm sorry, I missed that last statement.
And letterhead as well. I'm thinking flyers, letterhead, cards.
Everything that you want to utilize our logo, tagline, or likeness, we would like to pre-approve before you go ahead and start distribution.
Of course. Okay.
Stick one in the room.
Yeah, just a real quick question on the post-enrollment side of the use of the logo and backup. Are you guys going to develop post-enrollment PSAs for ongoing support that we can use? Is there something that's going to be restricted for me as a post-enroller of individual plans? How do you explain that?
So we already have material that we're developing. We have like booth in a box. We have a lot of material that we can provide to our partners to go ahead and market and advertise as well. I will ask you to direct all those types of questions to our communications officer. He has a working relationship, of course, with KPS3. They've already developed a lot of these materials that we can share with you. I don't know how that process is exactly lined out, but I know he does. And again, I apologize he's not here, but it is definitely planned for. His office is full of boxes of pamphlets and everything else that can be distributed. So let's take another one on the phone. Sorry, we're an open question and answer, so try not to trip on each other.
One last question.
Go ahead.
On any type of radio advertising, do you have your own demo that we can, what's the word, camp on with names as portal enrollers, or do we need to submit to you possibly a demo of our own radio advertising?
If I understand the question correctly, that if you are going to develop your own advertising using our likeness, we're going to need to see it in all mediums. If you are going to utilize our specific radio ad, I think we still have that under our KPS. I think that's theirs. I think they own it, and so there has to be some form of permission granted from us at KPS3. And I'm sorry, I do not know that answer, but I will find out and send it out to you all.
All right, thank you.
Any more in the room, sir?
Are the print-ready files on the website for download?
So there are what we developed cheat sheets that are already there for different parts of our organization. You know, for APTC, CSR, child-only plans, and those things. Those are already out there. They're on the broker and agent webpage. The other print material, I don't believe it's out there yet, and I don't know exactly how we're going to be posting that because it is something that we purchased, paid money, developed, and so I think there's a different situation on obtaining that. But again, what I'll do is I'll add all these questions together and I'll send out one big brand standards announcement to the listserv that says, if you would like to use this is how you do it. If you would like to use this is how you do it. And so I'll make sure that gets sent out here hopefully by the end of this week. Any more on the phone?
Yeah.
Any more here in the room? Well, we've got about 15 minutes, so I don't want to waste anybody's time. However, this is our last opportunity where we have the group together prior to training. So you all are welcome here in the room and on the phone to disconnect and leave, or if you have any other questions, you've got me for the next 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Is the a copy of the hard copy app out there for the APTC available so we can look at what we're supposed to be telling our prospective insureds, what they're going to bring in for their enrollment process? You know, social date of birth is pretty obvious, but really need to be able to review what that questionnaire is. And there was a 61-page app out months ago, but I don't think that's going to be utilized.
Right, and so it is not going to be utilized. The paper version of our single streamline application is still being finalized. What we wanted to say and what we need to say has been decided. We just have to put it into print. So we don't want a 61-page application. That's not the intent. Once we do have it pared out, I think we've proven we're very quick about getting our information out on our webpage. And then we announce it to various listservs.
But it's not quite ready yet.
It's not quite ready yet, but it should be any day. Question on the phone?
I have a question. What, in a normal procedure, and I know you can't give exacts, but let's suppose a person or a client puts in an application with Nevada Health Link. Approximately how much turnaround before they'll be in the system and have I'm assuming a card or some kind of identification to be able to access care through Nevada Health Link? How soon will we be a turnaround from the application?
So the answer to that question is, unfortunately, that depends on what they're applying for. So when they apply for public assistance Medicaid CHIP, that process gets initially entered into our system, and then it goes over to the Medicaid CHIP agency for final review and approval. Depending on the situations that are put into that system, into our system, will determine how quick that turnaround time is. Also recognize that with Medicaid expansion right now, that there is a potential for a large group of individuals to shotgun through this process and want to get on and receive Medicaid benefits that they've never had the opportunity for. So we don't know if there'll be some form of bottleneck. I know that's not the right answer that you want to hear. You know, for a qualified health plan where everything comes back from the federal hub, everything is great, everything is filled out complete the first time, then that person is enrolled once they make payment. But please recognize that in October 1, if they make payment October 1, it doesn't mean that they're enrolled in health. Well, they are enrolled in health insurance, but they won't be able to receive those benefits in a qualified health plan until January 1. So we're not 100% sure if people are going to start paying on October 1, if they're going to get all the way to the payment screen, have everything saved up, and wait until December and make that payment. Carriers are going to wait throughout the first open enrollment upwards of 30 days issue an ID card because they don't want to issue out a welcome packet ID card to an individual.
Hi, Damon. It's Mary Lynn Ebert, and if you would give me a call, 702-374-6303. It's time Brad is leaving for Reno. We're going up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got another question. That was a great answer, and I appreciate that answer. I got a question though with respect to the payment. So will a person basically just make a payment to the exchange, and then the exchange will then pay the insurance carrier if there's subsidized funds involved, or do the individuals pay the insurance carrier and then the exchange pays the subsidized amount? I'm kind of confused on how that's going to work.
So there's two methods of payment. Well, the preferred method is that the individual pays the exchange. That's how we developed our web portal system. At the end, at the pay screen, they will have an opportunity to pay by multiple means. Although the federal regulations require that we must allow an individual to pay the carrier directly. If they pay the carrier directly, then the carrier will then remit the payment back over to us so we can apply it and take out our per member per month fee and then enroll them in their plan. If the individual pays the exchange directly, we will then take out our per member per month fee from those premiums and then remit payment to the multiple carriers if it's multiple plans, or to the one carrier themselves. We will submit the information to the U.S. Treasury on what the APTC amount is, and the U.S. Treasury will then pay the carrier the subsidized portion of that premium.
Okay, great. Thanks for that answer.
Let's take anyone in the room.
I have to go back to CHIPS and Medicaid.
Okay.
So the question is, I'll just tell you my understanding first. If I work for a small group employer versus a large group employer, so I'm talking under 100 employees for the small group and over 100 employees for the large group, large group employers are required to have coverage, group plans are required to have coverage for dependents. Small groups are not required to have coverage for dependents. So if I work for a large group employer and I have coverage and dependents are offered coverage, will my spouse and or children be able to enroll in Medicaid and or CHIPs if they are eligible by income?
So I asked this question of our CHIP expert because this came up before specifically for CHIP, and the response I got for CHIP was even if the employer provides health insurance for their dependents, which are children, in the terminology is spouses are not considered dependents, even though they are on your tax return, they're not as far as health insurance is concerned. They're considered spouses. So for children, our CHIP expert informed us that yes, they could still enroll their children in CHIP as long as they meet the qualifications for CHIP.
Okay, because that increased to 200% for CHIPs, right?
There was it is 200% for CHIP. There's some 0 to 6 year old, and then there's 6 to 18. And it's my understanding, don't quote me, that 6 to 18 was always at 200%. But the 0 to 6, they increased up to 159%. I think is what the latest is. But 0 to 6 up to 159% are qualified for Medicaid. From 160 on up, from 160 to 200, then they qualify for CHIP. And so I did need to make that more confusing.
So would the spouse in the large employer scenario, would the spouse, because my employer offered spousal coverage, and it was MEC, and it was affordable for me, would my spouse be able to enroll in Medicaid or not?
It's my understanding that they will, only because they're not receiving a direct tax subsidy. The issue comes around that tax subsidy. So if your spouse got a qualified health plan on the exchange and put in for a tax subsidy, then the employer would receive a penalty.
Okay.
Because the government was subsidizing something that they weren't supposed to. Medicaid runs a little differently. I'm not the Medicaid expert, unfortunately. You can always bounce that question off Medicaid to double check. What we will do is we will simply take the information from that spouse, and that spouse will say, do you have health insurance right now? No. Do you want help paying for health insurance? Yes. They'll enter in all their information. We'll bounce it off the eligibility engine. It'll come back and say you appear to qualify for Medicaid. Would you like to apply for Medicaid? Yes, I would. Then we go through the process, get them into Medicaid on a provisional basis, and then Medicaid will send out their information and do any verification that is necessary thereafter.
Thank you.
Any more questions on the phone?
Will with all of this information, I feel a little bit not so much lost, but uneducated on certain parts, especially for the large employers over 100 employees. Will this be covered in training beginning September the 4th?
So, large employers will not be covered in training because, to be completely honest, large employers do not affect the Nevada Health Link or the exchange. There is documentation on employers with the Nevada Division of Insurance. They put out multiple documents. I would go to their website. They're also going to be putting out specific training for employers as how the Affordable Care Act will affect how they operate and what are their requirements and what are the ways to provide health insurance and when do they have to and when do they not. And the Nevada Division of Insurance will be starting that process here, I think, in the next month or so. We just talked with them yesterday, and they're geared to start their outreach campaign. But as far as the exchange, Nevada Health Link is concerned, we're going to train you folks. We're going to give you the minimum amount of training you need to be successful on our exchange. And so a large employer is not going to be able to participate on our shop. And so we're not going to be going a whole lot through the large employer process.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Question, I came in late. When specifically is the training for agents?
We provided that announcement at the beginning, and if you weren't here, you're out of luck. No, I'm just kidding. We were finalizing the training this week. We're meeting on Friday. Hopefully we can get the curriculum at least finalized, and we should be announcing either next week or early the week after all the dates, times, locations, and the ability to register and sign up for that training.
Thank you.
Anyone else here in the room? Anyone else on the phone? We've got about 5 minutes before we're going to have to end this meeting. All right, I want to thank you all. You have one more in the room?
One more. About how many agents did you have that actually signed up for training? What approximate number of classes do we know?
So we have received a certain amount of intent to sell forms by that August 9th deadline, and then a certain amount thereafter. I think I was in the 900 range before August 9th, and I think we're at least 200 thereafter. That doesn't mean they're all resident in-state brokers. Of those, a good 300 or so are out of state. Maybe 400 are out of state. So we are dedicated to providing this opportunity for everyone to be trained here. We're prioritizing those in Nevada first. So we'll be having training sessions here in the north, probably in this room, throughout the month of September. I know I'm spending a week in Vegas in September, and we have 2 other people lined up to do 2 more weeks if necessary. So we are dedicated to getting everybody trained up until October 1, especially those that are here in the state of Nevada. We're looking at doing a rural roundabout as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Damon, is it going to be combined with the navigators, DACs, and assisters?
It will be. It's the same information with a few caveats. Certified application counselors and enrollment assisters don't have the same user roles as navigators and brokers and agents do. And so we have a specific broker portal that those assisters will not be participating in that training process. So it's a little bit different curriculum. If we can get everybody together, we will. But if we can separate them but still get everybody done at the same time, that's our preferred method, so we don't confuse folks. Anyone else? I think the whole phone shut down. I want to thank you all for coming. Again, please send any questions or concerns that you have. We want to reiterate that this is a team-based approach to running this exchange. We appreciate all of your interest, and we want to make sure that we have everything set up so you all can be successful and we can have enrollment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.